In this video, we're going to take a high-level look at machine learning on AWS using Amazon SageMaker. We'll first walk through what a typical machine learning workflow looks like. Once that's clear, we'll plug SageMaker into that picture and see exactly where it helps. Okay, let's dig into it. Machine learning isn't just about clever algorithms. It's about a repeatable process that takes the data all the way to a reliable running application. Think of it as software engineering plus statistics plus operations. SageMaker's main job is to make that whole process easier, more standardized, and more scalable. Let's start with the typical machine learning workflow. Well, first you collect and prepare your data. The fuel for any machine learning project is data, and you need enough of it. And it has to be reasonably clean and relevant. In practice, this means pulling data from different systems, fixing obvious errors, handling missing values, and getting everything into a structure that the machine learning algorithm can understand. If this step is done badly, the rest of the project will suffer no matter how fancy the model is. Next, you build or choose a machine learning model. This could be a simple model like a regression or something more complex like a deep learning model. At this stage, you decide what type of model makes sense for the problem you're trying to solve, and you define it how it should behave. Think of it as designing the brain that will later learn from your data. Then you train the model using training data. Here, you feed your prepared data into the model so it can learn patterns and relationships. The model adjusts its internal parameters step by step, trying to improve its prediction based on the example you've given it. Training is where most of the heavy compute work happens, and it's often the most time-consuming part. After that, you test and evaluate the model. You give the model data it hasn't seen before and check how well it performs using metrics like accuracy or error rate. This step tells you if the model is good enough to be useful or not. If the results aren't good enough, you tune and improve the model. This usually means adjusting hyperparameters, changing which features you use from the data, or something picking from a different algorithm. You repeat this cycle of train, test, and tune until the performance is acceptable for your use case. And finally, you deploy the model into production. Once you're happy with your model, you can make it available so real applications can send the data and receive predictions. This might be done through an API endpoint, a batch process, or running the model on a device. And from here, your model is part of the real system that users or other services depend on. Traditionally, teams would stitch all of this together themselves by using various open source tools and their own infrastructure. That approach is powerful, but can be complex and time-consuming to operate at scale, especially around infrastructure setup, security, and monitoring. SageMaker offers a managed, integrated environment so you spend less time wiring components together and more time focusing on the data and models. Now that you've seen full workflow, let's talk about Amazon SageMaker and how it fits into this picture. Amazon SageMaker is a fully managed machine learning platform on AWS that helps you with almost every step of this workflow. Preparing data, building and training models, deploying them, and basically the whole thing. The key idea is that SageMaker removes a lot of heavy lifting around infrastructure and tooling, so you can focus more on solving the business problem. Let's have a quick overview of the SageMaker. SageMaker is an end-to-end service for machine learning that you can bring the data from services like Amazon S3, Amazon Athena, Amazon Redshift, or Amazon EMR and build or choose models, train them on managed infrastructure, and then deploy them securely at scale. You don't need to manually build and manage your own training servers or separate deployment platforms. SageMaker brings these pieces into one place. SageMaker can connect to multiple AWS data sources, as we mentioned, like S3, Athena, Redshift, and EMR, and you can load your datasets directly from these services into your machine learning environment. SageMaker also includes tools to explore and prepare your data, helping you spot potential errors and data quality issues early on before you invest time in training a model that's based on a bad data. Once your data is in good shape, the next step is building and choosing models in SageMaker. SageMaker provides a library of built-in algorithms for common machine learning tasks such as classification, regression, and recommendation. These are ready-to-use models that are optimized to run efficiently on AWS. At the same time, SageMaker supports bringing your own custom models as well. So if you already have a model built in framework like TensorFlow, PyTorch, or scikit-learn, you can package it and run it inside SageMaker. This flexibility lets you start quickly with built-ins and later move on to custom models when you need more control. It also gives you managed notebooks environments as well, like integrated storage connections and pre-built containers for popular frameworks, so setup time and operational overhead are much lower than running everything yourself. Once you've picked a model, you move on to training models and optimized infrastructure. SageMaker runs your training jobs on managed compute infrastructure, including instance types that are optimized for machine learning workloads, so you don't have to manually configure clusters or worry about scaling them up and down. SageMaker can even also perform automatic model tuning, where it tries different configurations for you and searches for a combination that produces better accuracy. This saves you from a lot of repetitive trial and error work. After training, you're ready for deploying models. Once you're satisfied with your trained model, SageMaker can deploy it for inference in multiple ways. You can deploy to managed EC2 instances that are optimized for serving predictions in real time, so your applications can call an endpoint and get a response quickly. And there's also a serverless deployment option where you don't manage any underlying instances at all. SageMaker automatically scales based on the traffic, and for scenarios where you need predictions directly on physical devices, you can deploy models to edge devices as well, such as smart cameras or on-premises equipment, so they can make decisions locally without sending the data back to the cloud. Before wrapping up, let's quickly go through a few common use cases that people usually use SageMaker. One of the most common ones is having product recommendations. For example, suggesting items to customers in an online store. Or having fraud detection service, such as flagging suspicious financial transaction. Or risk or behavior predictions, like estimating which customers are more likely to file a claim or cancel a subscription. And of course, many other examples that you can think of similar to these examples. And here are a summary keynotes and key takeaways that's good for you to remember from this video. Amazon SageMaker is a fully managed machine learning service on AWS. It helps you bring in and prepare data from services like Amazon S3, Athena, Redshift, and EMR. It lets you build models using built-in algorithms or your own custom models, provides optimized infrastructure for training and automated tuning, and gives you multiple options to deploy your models on managed EC2 instances, serverless approach, or even on physical edge devices. All right, thank you so much everyone. That's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.